We just watched The Batman. Ian and I saw it Tuesday. That's Ian and Joaquin on the couch over there, by the way.
That's me.
Ian and I saw it Tuesday, of course, with the fan screening. That was like 3 or 4 days ago at this point. And then we also saw it Thursday with Joaquin over here.
Yes.
And here we go. We're going to go into the deep dive review now. Who wants to
All right,
start?
hold on. We will talk about spoilers. I am going to try my best not to. That being said, there will be a couple things that we will probably talk about. That
I'll be real with you. I think we could just do spoilers. You think so? It's like
I'm going to try not to. It's still only been a couple days.
How about this? If you care about spoilers, don't listen past. Jake put a time mark on screen.
I'll put the time mark. Okay, so we'll do non-spoiler at first. But I really do want to dive deep into this.
What first is we should talk about what our thoughts were coming into this movie. You know,
okay.
But, what are levels of, I don't know.
Hype.
Hype is not the right word for me per se.
Hype
but
is the right word for
you
me.
two, on the other hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we were super duper hyped. It was my number one most anticipated of the year because I saw the trailer and went, "Ooh, Batman," and was really excited. And the song slapped, and the movie looked great.
I feel that.
And it had Robert Pattinson of The Lighthouse and Good Time and Remember Me, and the Double all the time, where he does banger performances and all of those except Remember Me because I haven't seen Remember Me, so I can't tell you. But
yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
I caught that you threw a really terrible movie into the mix.
High tier actor. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm excited. Watching the trailers, Penguin looked great. Riddler, we didn't see a lot of Riddler in the trailers, and I think that's very smart because he's very elusive.
He's a man of mystery.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a banging time. I expected between an 8 and a 9, and I got the higher end of my expectations.
I went into it with pretty much equal amount of hype as Ian. We both had it as our number one of the year.
Yes.
So that's how you know it's a banger time. I went in with some pretty decent expectations, but at the end of the day, I didn't want something as good as The Dark Knight. I think that's everybody's question.
I didn't want something as good as The Dark Knight. I wanted something as good as The Dark Knight.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody does, but if it wasn't as good as one of the best movies ever made, I wouldn't be mad.
I wanted this to be worse than this movie.
Yeah. Can you imagine? No, some people go into this movie and are just like, if it's not as good as The Dark Knight, it's going to be bad. It's like, that's not how any movie works.
That's not how you temper any expectations. Imagine going into a film and like, well, if this isn't, what's a classic? Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Then I don't want it.
As good as one of the best movies ever. But
and that's the problem Jake had with Space Jam 2. He came into it thinking Citizen Kane.
No, I came into it thinking it was going to be good, and that didn't. Actually, I didn't even think it was going to be good anyway. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
You said it looked awful, and you watched it and you were like, yeah, it's bad, bro.
It did look awful, and it was. But no. So we're here at The Batman. Now.
Well, I didn't even say my thoughts.
I didn't even say my thoughts. I'm still going at my thoughts. I just said. All right, fine. Go.
I thought this movie, from the marketing, looked absolutely miserable. Everything about it. From the first time I remember being in the car with you guys. We were on the way to watch Sonic.
And I said there's a Batman. Yeah,
they showed the Robert Pattinson suit, and I said, this just looks absolutely dreadful. And it just keeps getting more and more dreadful as we see posters, as we see trailers. The marketing for this movie absolutely did it no favors in my at least for me, and I think the general movie audience is going to agree with that. It looks downright depressing.
I mean, I hate to. I'm only going to disagree with the part that I think is factual. The audience loves this movie.
That's
like their audience ratings are very high.
The people that are watching this movie, though,
yeah,
I'm saying that people that haven't seen this movie probably got turned off. I'm thinking in the case of, because it's a PG-13 movie, parents can bring their kids. But if I'm a parent, am I going to want to bring my kid to this based on the marketing?
No, your kid's going to want to go see it with their friends because they don't want to see the movie with their fucking parents.
I'm talking like an 8-year-old dude, 8, 9-year-old, maybe 10.
I mean, I don't know. It's a gray area. I know in the UK they have their 15+ thing, which is weird because as opposed to here in America where you can go see a movie if you're any age as long as a parent brings you, they won't let someone under 15 go.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different, and it's a gray area, and theaters are mad about it, which understandable. They're not going to get as much box office.
Yeah. But it's only the UK. Fuck that country.
In so many words, they're not a big important box office country.
The UK
but
is multiple countries.
no. So I mean, in another way, it's just the way I think about it is the trailer in my mind is spectacular. All the marketing for it, I love the tone and the style. You said it was miserable. You're right, and I think that's one of the appeals.
Yeah, I have a whole spiel about that if we're gonna get into that later.
Okay, we can get into it when we get into it, but
I
think
I said later.
We should probably just start with, well, how do you want to start this discussion?
I want to start giving it all the praise in the entire world because I'm not gonna give it any not praise.
All right. I mean,
you don't have problems with this movie?
I do not. I think it warrants its runtime, which is good because that was one of the things I was worried about being a 3 hour long movie. I was worried that there was going to be some fluff, and honestly, I think out of a 3 hour film, if I'm like maybe 5 minutes shorter, that still achieves its goal, in my opinion. 2:55 compared to 3 is still 3 at the end of the day. Doesn't really matter.
Honestly, like I would probably say like I have only really one criticism that isn't a nitpick. So like I also, as Ian mentioned his score already, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think to start this discussion, we should probably start with Joquin. What do you think out of 10? Just to start.
I think it's the only 10 I've ever seen, Jake.
Oh wow, that's not happening. I'm thinking like a solid 7 out of 10.
That's pretty good for Joquin.
I thought it was negative. I thought you didn't like it.
No, I know you enjoyed it. Because he wasn't pissed.
Okay, you're right.
Me sitting next to Joquin in a theater, I know when Joquin doesn't like something by the mannerisms that he's doing and his body language. And I was sitting there observing his body language from the side, and I'm like, no, he's thinking pretty positive about this.
Because it was the three of us, and we had one friend who isn't a part of Hot Quality Content, and he was like, what do you guys think of the movie? And Joquin's like, I'm saving my thoughts because I want to start the discussion on Saturday with the boys on the show. And that's understandable. But based on your body language, I thought you were going to give it like a 3 out of 10. I thought you hated it.
Oh, no.
No, it's a good movie.
Listen, okay, I never thought I would hate this movie. I thought it was going to be, I thought it was going to be a 6 out of 10.
Joquin, you in the chat specifically, you're like, I think this is going to be big mid. You said 5, 6 at best.
Yeah.
What did I just say?
Yeah.
Well, that's better than the big mid, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I mean, a 7 for Joquin out of his 1 to 9 scale is really good.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, 7's even on a 10 to scale, 7 is a decent score.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I view 7s as like a really strong score. Yeah. So that's just me, though. But no, I guess just to start things off, I anticipated like a climax style bloodbath between one guy and two others, you know, but it wasn't quite that. So all right, so who wants to start?
I'll let Joquin. You probably have a couple negatives considering.
Bruce Wayne is the biggest negative I have in this movie. And again, it goes back to the like dark and depressing, moody. That's not, to me at least, that's not what Bruce Wayne should be.
No.
This is a younger Bruce Wayne, to be fair.
Yeah, I was about to say, because of how the movie is presenting where Batman is in his journey so far.
Batman 2 years in, right?
Yes, Batman 2 years in. So he's had trouble adapting his life between Bruce Wayne and Batman. He hasn't been sleeping. He hasn't been... I give that a pass. And I did want to see more Bruce Wayne. That being said, what we got makes sense in terms of storyline and time-wise, so it didn't bother me.
All right, that's understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of aligning between the two of you because, like I said earlier, I only have one criticism that isn't a nitpick. The criticism is the characterization of Batman. Now, I love most of what they do with the Batman character. I love how, to compliment before I start getting to my criticism, I love how, like, literally every scene involves Batman or Bruce Wayne to some extent.
Yep.
I don't think we've seen a Batman movie like that yet. I think this is the first one of its type, where there's no scene that just focuses on supporting characters. It is literally just this Bruce Wayne character trying to solve this mystery the whole time. And there's just scenes like we've never really seen Batman just in costume, in the outfit, in the gear and everything, just walk into the precinct. And you see the mood between the cops, like some are like on board with it, some are kind of not so much, some are, you know,
some change their mind throughout the film.
Some change their mind throughout the film. That's absolutely correct. And I really do appreciate how he's just there. Like, he's literally at the crime scene doing detective work and helping out the detectives and, you know, recording and piecing together on his own. That aspect of Batman has not been developed. I think the most detective work a Batman on screen has ever done. No, although he's done some detective work in the movie.
Adam West.
Adam West, he did a decent amount of detective work, I'll give you that. But I think the most that in a movie Batman's detective work has been is that scene in The Dark Knight where he cuts the bullet hole out of the wall and they test a bunch of shots of different rounds with the machine and test which bullet fired and which caliber. That was brilliant detective work.
Yes.
One scene.
Yep. 89 does more, but it's not as in-depth.
Right, exactly. So that's one of the reasons that movie is one of the best ever, is like it does every single aspect of the character. Speaking on that, the characterization of Robert Pattinson, I love most of what they did with this character.
Yeah.
My gripe, and I understand, like Ian was saying, it's 2 years in. It's very early on. He's still getting the hang of it.
He's green.
His bat glide suit is this like squirrel suit. Basically, it's just the real life.
The genuine fear when he gets on that gargoyle and goes, "Fuck! I'm gonna have to use this stupid thing."
Yep.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate that. I would say that integral to the Batman character are the gadgets. He uses a batarang, which there's only one of. Twice. He uses it to cut a small piece of tape, and he uses it to cut a big wire in the third act.
Yep.
And that's it. And to me, it's like batarangs are integral. They're as integral as the grapple hook, if not the cowl. Like they're part of the character.
Yep.
And I know, again, I'm sure in the sequel he'll be like, "All right, Alfred, I invented a 500 fucking batarang." But like, I'm not watching the sequel. I'm watching the first movie.
Yeah.
And the only gadgets. He has the eye recorders.
Banger.
He has a chest batarang, which isn't even the most practical way to do that. And he has a grapple gun, which he uses plenty.
Yes.
Big happy about the grapple gun.
Well, yeah. Listen, if you're using Batman without the grapple gun, don't use Batman.
Yeah, exactly. It's an again integral part of the character.
Yep.
But aside from that, and I think he had like a side bomb once.
He does it technically twice because the dome of Gotham Square Garden blows up. And then he goes through the glass. He probably planted those on the outside.
Yeah, to me, like right now, it just feels like he's a dude with some really cool stuff, as opposed to like 89 Batman had like a new awesome thing every movie, if not 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Dark Knight trilogy. A lot of that was about Lucius Fox developing those different weapons, and saying like, "I'm not an idiot. Don't call it spelunking, Bruce." Like I really appreciate that those sequences. These didn't really have any of those.
Okay.
I'll let you go.
I wanted to touch on you. We were talking about detective work earlier, and that's another problem I have with this movie. It almost seems too easy for Batman. Batman comes in and he's like, "Oh, these fucking idiot cops. It's this and that." Like he's showing off, but at the same time, he should be green. It shouldn't be so easy for him to figure this stuff out. Is a problem that I have.
He doesn't figure it out everything immediately. He figures it out partially every single time. He's always one step behind the Riddler. Every single time, he's always one step behind.
Sure, but he's still too far ahead.
You mean ahead of the police precinct?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that isn't a problem because he is supposed to be the world's greatest detective. You can't have him be.
Again, it's only
you can't have him be inexperienced at combat, which he still gets hit a pretty decent amount.
Yeah, he's not perfect at being Combat Man yet. He's great,
then
though.
Also be as good as police at detective work.
Well, I
think
that is something you build to, if that's what your point you were making.
Yeah, I think having him where he is still one or two steps behind the very intelligent bad guy in this movie, is good. He figures stuff out, but he only figures stuff out partially. He goes drive, car, thumb drive. Perfect, cool, we did it. He lies still, gets it wrong, and then has to see it through another aspect.
I was actually kind of shocked that they had the balls to actually blow up Gotham Harbor and flood the city.
Like that is spoiler. That is him not realizing something too late.
I realized that is a minor spoiler. I'm so sorry. So I guess with that inadvertent reveal, should we just switch? Because the time code before I said that.
So Batman, throughout all of these things, he's always getting it, but not getting the full picture. And I think that's where part of that greenness comes in. I think a more experienced Batman would have that. He'd be like, okay, this, am I missing anything? And have that. Because every single thing, he fucks up URL Rada Alada 3 times.
He does. Although that's
Alfred
tricky.
Fucked that up.
Alfred fucked it up, but by proxy, Bruce fucked. That's his mission.
Yes.
But also, more importantly, that's a very tricky riddle.
Yes.
Like, in 100 years, I'd stare at that and be like, bro, what the fuck does this even mean?
Because he fucks it up. He goes, Bat, Penguin. Oh, wait, that's what it is.
Because the Riddler intentionally used
I don't know if I'd call a falcon a flying rat.
Well, birds are flying rats.
Basically.
In metaphorical terms,
I fucking hate birds, bro.
No, don't hate birds. Birds are nice.
Flying rat would be a bat.
Sure. And again, that's brought up. Because it could have been the bat, the penguin, or Falcone. So, that's why that was like that.
Sounds like a freaking bat.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. And aside from the characterization of Batman, which it sounds like the sequels are going to start correcting as time goes on, I really don't have
don't even think correction is the right word because he is still early. It makes sense. You know what I mean?
But like when I watch like a Spider-Man movie, I don't want to see him at 5 years old. I want to see Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
I think For me personally, I think if I'm going to have to count the gadgets, he has the sick fucking contacts, which is like one of the coolest things. He has taser arm, which he uses early on in the film. With that one guy that shoots, the first guy that shoots him, he taser arms him. He has the glide. He has the batarang. He has the bomb.
The glide fucked up. He crashed into a bridge and then a truck and then a pile of like debris and then the sidewalk and then like rolled and limped away. Like it clearly failed, which made me think in the third act they were gonna be like, oh well, Alfred, this glide suit was shit. I built a new one.
Alfred was too busy being exploded.
Yeah, who's in the hospital? Hey, the wall. I built a new glide suit, and it's like the actual bat glide cape thing, which would make more sense. Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, you called that out and said it was bad, and then made it good. And later.
Now,
it's like,
the way I see that, this is a very more, it's more grounded. Mm-hmm. It's a more grounded take on Batman. Watching him glide around using his fucking cape isn't really realistic. That's why I think they used like a flying squirrel suit.
They'll go to the glide. They'll go to the iconic glide.
They're gonna do the glide. They're gonna do the glide.
Because fun fact, glide suits sort of look like smaller now, like the
sure.
You know what I'm talking about? Like he's gonna be able to do it.
Sure, but he also needed something to be able to. Glide suits are also very light.
Yes.
His suit is not very light.
He is a tank.
He needed something to be able to. He needs something to be able to glide. At the same time, also holding his current suit.
I was wondering that too. Like, how much weight? Because if it's bulletproof head to toe, except the mouth, then
I don't think the cowl looks bulletproof. It looks rubber.
It looks rubbery.
Yeah. I thought he got shot in the head.
Yeah, this isn't Batfleck.
This isn't Batfleck. That cowl is because he took it off like.
Why are you protecting everything except where your brain is? Yeah, to me, that's kind of stupid.
You put the bat symbol on the chest so people shoot at it.
They shoot all over him. Like, that's my point. Why would they be like, Batman, I'm going to aim right for that bat?
It is the biggest part to shoot.
It's probably just something like a bulletproof vest. Bulletproof vests aren't metal.
Yeah, but no, bulletproof vests are like Kevlar. They're fairly lightweight, and they stop the bullet.
Kevlar's not fairly lightweight.
Compared to metal, it is. In terms of what it looks, he looks like a tactical, like, fucking SWAT agent.
He does.
But also, Kevlar doesn't ping the bullets off. It keeps it in the net and it doesn't make a ting sound. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think like it's like titanium or some shit. But if it's titanium, like what the fuck kind of wingsuit?
Lightweight titanium.
Lightweight titanium. So the bullets go through it.
It's vibranium.
Yeah, more or less. More or less, yeah.
Dude, Batman, I just want to start praising. God, I love the acting in this movie so fucking much. I think Pattinson does a bang up A1 job. He's my favorite on-screen Batman. Yeah, I fucking said it. Which camera's mine? That one? I fucking said it. Which camera's mine? It's the one pointed at me. Batman.
I didn't say it.
Robert Pattinson, awesome. Mm-hmm. Absolutely fantastic. They do the detective work. They do beat up big punch time. Both of the things. No other Batman has gotten as much detective work, and it's only been one fucking movie.
While this movie exceeds at detective work, I would say that he doesn't do as much other Batman-related cool shit as the other movies have. And I understand, like,
there's a fairly good balance here, though.
Yeah,
there's a decent
balance. It's a good balance.
There's a good balance.
I'm happy that we got detective work. This seems like the smartest Batman, or one of the smartest Batmans. He still fucks up a little bit, but it's intelligent while he's doing it.
That I will give you.
We never get that intelligence from Batman.
Right.
We never get that, oh, he's the world's greatest detective. We get...
Well, no,
he just figures shit out.
We get a sense that Batman, like other on-screen Batman, they're relatively smart dudes,
but they never show it.
Yeah, they never felt like the world's greatest detective.
Right.
Batman's finally feeling like Batman needs to be characterized as in this. Intelligent violence for Bruce and Batman isn't the first thing he thinks of. He goes, all right, what do I do? Mm-hmm. He has the plan. He has the contingency, and they allude to that in BVS/Justice League. And it never feels like that's right.
And you know what's great, too? I realized just now talking about it, but, like, at the start of the movie, when he's describing how he's using fear as a tool to keep Gotham as a whole safe by implying that Batman could be any of those shadows and stopping crime. This is something mentioned in all 3 Dark Knight movies, but they never show what he's just simply saying, Alfred, I need to become...
He's just saying it.
Yeah, he's saying, like, Alfred, I got to use the tool of the bat to, like, become a tool of the night to use fear.
They show it. They absolutely... No, hang on. They show it. Literally, one of the first scenes of the movie is where the guy gets off the train, Batman comes down, he protects him.
No, I'm saying they show it in the Batman movie. In the Batman movie.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm saying
they
don't
say
really...
it out loud in The Dark Knight, but never. It doesn't feel like it.
Right. And it sure, as the movies go on, like the city very much has that feeling of like, oh, Batman's gonna knock your shit in if you're selling an eighth. You know, like, all kinds of fucking stupid shit.
Yep.
But like, I mean, to me, it's like this movie literally starts off by, this is the effect of the city. Now I've been Batman for 2 years. This is what I'm doing. This is why it's like that.
And I absolutely love how it feels like he's made no fucking difference.
Yeah. And
that is something I love.
Yeah. Dude, I love that too, because that ties into the moral.
Bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
the new mayor. The new mayor.
Bella Real.
Mm-hmm. That, if you want, that's like another con of the movie. There's the scene where Batman's like helping her up, and she's like, "Wow, maybe he really is good for the city." Is he though?
Yes, because the reason that crime hadn't dropped was because the police, not Batman.
Not for nothing, but like I'd argue that point at the end of the movie where he's like seeing that criminal that he beat up earlier that says "I'm vengeance" to him. That's that point where Batman realizes, okay, vengeance isn't the path.
He needs to be justice/hope, not vengeance.
Mm-hmm. And that's where he starts to become that. And
yes,
that's why I'm like, oh, sequels are going to do this, sequels are going to do that, because this movie starts out, or basically finishes, I should say, establishing the Batman, or the path of the Batman that we know and love going forward.
While also being the Batman that we know and love as well.
In some aspects,
yes. And it's so smart.
Mm-hmm.
I think this movie does a great job of characterizing Batman, personally. I love Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
In this movie so much. You mentioned that it was your favorite.
Gotham
City.
Okay, so to talk about that a little bit, this is not my favorite Batman live action. This is not my favorite Batman movie. It's not my favorite whatever. This is my favorite version of Gotham City I've ever seen in any media.
Yep.
And Batman the Animated Series, I love that show. Yes. Gotham in this, it's a character.
Yep.
You could argue it's the main character in some ways.
Yes.
And the health of the city is the focal point of all 3 of those hours of runtime.
Yep.
And I love that aspect, and I don't think a movie has really done that yet.
No.
Or, I don't think a piece of Batman media has done it this well in terms of establishing what the city of Gotham is, needs, and what it's going to go towards.
Yeah.
It takes a talented fucking director to do that.
Yes.
You know?
I think the first 2 movies in the Dark Knight trilogy get close.
They do, and I really do think they do. And, well, actually, the third one's the most about the city.
You're right, but I think the first 2 do a better job than the one that's supposed to be about the city.
I've always felt like the Dark Knight trilogy, it just feels like, say, New York or San Francisco. It doesn't really feel like Gotham. It just felt, because it's so realistic. Obviously, those movies were going for that realistic tone with like what Nolan was doing. That obviously, I feel like it's so in our world that it's not in Gotham. Whereas this, while going for realism, is still that like very gritty noir, as if it's like a part of our history. Well, it's now obviously, but it's like it's a part of the world, but like it's somebody's imagination of what this gothic, terrible horror city could be.
Yeah, Matt Reeves did a fantastic job characterizing the city, and the color grading in the movie that they use while they're showing shots of the city. No, that's mostly the club stuff.
It's actually mostly there's a part in the third act that's like 10 minutes long with all the red shadowing.
That's the club.
Yeah, when the club loses power.
Yep.
It's like 10 minutes of a 3-hour movie. The marketing is all this red.
Yeah, which is really fun.
I would still say the movie is a lot of red. It's not. You guys are kind of underselling how much red there is.
There's maybe 15, 20 minutes of red in 3 hours.
Did we watch the same movie?
Yeah, I've watched it twice.
Where's the rest of the red?
It's only when they're in the club.
Everywhere.
Like that only red lighting aspect is only when they're in the club.
And it's not even all the scenes in the club, too.
No,
it's just that
because
one
it flashes
scene
between, because
where it does the emergency, like in Climax, as mentioned earlier, or it does the emergency lighting in the club when they lose power. Other than that, I don't remember any like red tinted sequences.
No. There's some sunset stuff if you're counting that as red.
That's like orangey,
no,
yellow.
That's orangey.
Yeah.
But
whatever. I think the color grading of Gotham really helps it. It's not like the BVS color grading where it's just gray. Like, I will put grayscale over my film. Mm-hmm. It feels alive, but in a bleak, ugly, dull way.
No, hang on, Ian. To be fair, Justice is gray.
Justice is gray edition. Yep. That's right. Just like Zack Snyder intended.
4:3, black and white.
Why wasn't this film those?
I disagree. This film should not be those things.
I agree.
Black and white.
But no.
Black and red. Black and white.
We haven't even talked about the villains yet.
Virtual Boy.
To be quite honest.
There are 4 of them. It balances all like well.
Catwoman's more of a hero.
Sure, but she goes back and forth sometimes.
She has the robbing Penguin Falcone.
My point is, there's a lot of like pro or antagonists to the story, and a 3-hour movie obviously delves into all of them pretty damn well.
So I very much liked Catwoman. It might be the best on-screen Catwoman by I don't really like most of the other ones.
She might be more of an anti-hero.
Ian, by a mile.
By a mile, right? Like I don't really like any of the other ones.
I like Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman quite a bit.
P. Fifes.
It's the honestly, those are the only two in contention.
Eartha Kitt, Halle Berry, P. Fifes, Anne Hathaway, Zoe Kravitz.
Okay, well,
right. I'm missing one.
Those are the
I
ones.
think,
Yeah,
but
Lego Catwoman. Also Zoe Kravitz.
also Zoe Kravitz.
She guys, do not forget she reprised her role as Catwoman for the.
They should have had Will Arnett Batman in this movie.
Yeah, why the fuck?
Joe Quinn would have fucking hated it.
Oh my god, dude! I'm so excited.
I also would not have liked that.
No. More importantly, I just got to say that, like, in terms of the on-screen Catwoman, Women, she's always been treated as like, oh, this movie she shows up, all right, bye forever after the next one, and it's like she's integral to the Batman mythos, and I like how in this movie they're starting off with this character to expand on it later.
Yeah, it's very, very good because she's gonna come back. She hasn't even cat-burgled much.
Yep, exactly.
Like. She's coming back, and she's really talented.
Yeah, she is, and I do enjoy Anne Hathaway's performance. I enjoy Michelle Pfeiffer's. I think Michelle Pfeiffer was my favorite until Zoe Kravitz. But Zoe Kravitz, I don't know if it's the runtime or just the characterization, but she has so much more to do than those other Catwomen do.
She feels like a fully fleshed out character instead of a side character.
Yeah.
It feels like she's the second support, like the Batman, Zoe Kravitz. And normally, for me, Alfred normally feels like second support. It's Alfred and Batman, right? Like
more or less, yeah.
So the fact that we get Catwoman to be that secondary support, helping him out more, is really, really good, especially with how they characterize Alfred and Batman's relationship in this movie. Of it's a little bit strained because they haven't had that moment of him blowing up and Bruce going, well, I thought I'd mastered literally every fear in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then this happened, and I felt like a kid again. Like, I felt like I did when my parents died.
Now, you mentioned that your favorite on-screen Batman is now Pattinson. And
yes.
I know that you waited to say that.
I did.
It's been like almost a week at this point, since Tuesday when we first watched it.
Yep.
But, you wanted to let the recency bias set in.
I wanted recency bias to set in. I watched it twice, though. I didn't just wait after first viewing. First viewing, watched it. He was probably second, and Michael Keaton. I like Michael Keaton Batman.
Michael Keaton's great. Yep.
And then I watched it again and was like, okay. Waited till Thursday after the movie, and I was like, this is probably it. Friday, I woke up and I'm like, no, it's the same. Has to be it.
So
it's the detective work
because I do want to.
We never get any detective work with Batman.
Right, exactly. I do want to pass it off to Joe Quinn to hear what he has to say about this, but before I do, I just want to say that for me, my live-action Batman, it's close. I think Pattinson. The trouble I'm having is that I've only seen him once. There's only one movie with Pattinson right now, and for another 2 or 3 years, I'm not going to get another one. So
that's fair.
I got to see him develop over time, whereas like Christian Bale has like an entire trilogy. Even Ben Affleck has like 3 or 4 movies at this point that he's starred in as Batman. So I still lean Batfleck. Joke would be damned. I know you're gonna like laugh at that, but
he did. He smiled. He went.
Yeah. But no, okay. To clarify, in Batman vs Superman, he shines. In Justice League, don't even talk about it. In Snyder Cut, he's fine. I think as a whole, the character is really strong, particularly in BVS. I think that characterization of him is so good. Pattinson is creeping up on his ass right now. He's giving
very easily. Yeah. Very easily.
I got to see him over time. I've seen plenty of Batfleck. I've seen just a week's worth of fucking Robert Pattinson's Batman so far. So I got to let it set in. But I want to see this character evolve and grow into the Batman I know and the Batman they're heading towards. Because I can feel they're going in this direction.
And he's going to be able to kill being Bruce Wayne.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, because right now the Bruce Wayne, like, you know how Bruce Wayne's like this cocky, suave persona, but that's the fake personality. Yes. The real personality is like the grim guy. Bruce Wayne hasn't figured that out yet.
Yes.
He's still damaged. He's trying to figure out who he is. Because at the funeral, he's just there like the whole time. Yeah. And I totally understand that because A, it's a funeral. Why are you being cocky and smiley at a funeral? B, he's not really figuring out like how he's supposed to work this life yet.
Hasn't balanced it properly, which I love because it's a hard balance. That's a hard balance, and we never really see that struggle between the Bruce Wayne and
You're
the Batman.
right. He's usually just set up as already that way.
Yeah.
Or in Begins, he's like already like I'm Bruce Wayne the whole time.
Yeah. We never see that struggle. Batman is about that struggle of all of these different factors going into saving the city in your life, and like how you as Bruce Wayne impact the city and how you as Batman impact the city. We never get that, well, but you stay up all night and get the shit kicked out of you.
Mm-hmm.
So
I said it earlier, but like this movie is about Batman, not Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
He's in almost every single scene. There are a few Bruce Wayne scenes, even though it's the same character.
I like the Bruce Wayne scenes.
I do as well. I think they're strong. But like as soon as Bruce Wayne shows up at the funeral and you get like 5 or 6 conversations, car crashes to the Batman, Bruce has got to leave, Batman time.
Yes.
Like that, to me, that's so fucking great.
And I really like how later on in the movie he figures out, well, I need to be Bruce here when he needs to go see Falcone after the video about his parents comes out.
That's
he
great.
doesn't go in as Batman and goes, what do you know about this? He goes, I need to be Bruce Wayne here. And it's starting to figure out that balance.
So, Joe, I mentioned it earlier, but who's your favorite live-action Batman?
My favorite
Adam West. Sorry.
Well, if you really want to get
Adam
that
West.
bit- No. My favorite live. Okay, can I split my answer between my favorite live action Bruce Wayne and Batman?
Sure.
I'll respect that.
Because Jake, this might surprise you, but my favorite live action Bruce Wayne is Affleck.
Really?
Yeah, I think
that
he does
did surprise
I think
me.
he does a really solid job as Bruce Wayne
I like
when he's
Christian.
not murdering people.
Christian Bale does a better Bruce Wayne for me because he only feels like Bruce Wayne and feels very little like Batman. I, for some reason, don't know why. Whole Dark Knight trilogy, I'm like, this guy doesn't feel like Batman. These movies fucking slap, but I never got Batman from him.
Batfleck,
really good Bruce Wayne.
He nails the look of Bruce Wayne
Yes.
to me.
Yeah.
He looks like out of all the like adaptations of Bruce Wayne that we've gotten, he nails that fucking look, and he nails the mannerisms too, and he does very Bruce Wayne type things.
Yes, that's fair. Yep.
My favorite live action Batman, on the other hand, is probably Keaton.
Okay.
I
I mean,
like
I
Michael
love
Keaton.
Keaton, so
I like
This
Michael
is,
Keaton.
I will say, this is pretty up here though.
this is I think
I'm
I wanna
very
see
glad
more.
you liked the Pattinson portrayal of Batman because
Pattinson's not the problem with the movie.
yeah,
I
he's phenomenal.
you know, I came into the movie thinking Pattinson was gonna suck ass. I was pleasantly surprised when he didn't.
He's really good.
His Bruce Wayne is not his fault.
It's the script.
It's the script.
It's how they're writing
Exactly.
and developing the
And
character.
you know what? Credit to him. He's taken that script and doing the best you possibly can.
Oh, come on, he's Robert Pattinson. I expected him to.
By the way, speaking of the script, the writing in this movie is kind of atrocious.
I like it.
I disagree
Yeah,
strongly.
I very much disagree.
It's kind of atrocious. It's kind of
What would be an example?
it's like very much. There's a lot of one-liners for some odd reason.
What do you mean? I mean, like
can't
I'm
think
trying
of-
to think of one that stood out as bad to me.
Can't think of any. I feel like it. This. How do I explain this? It felt there were like one-liners of formulaic Batman things to say, like, oh well, we had to go and at one point we had to say, oh, don't use the guns of the enemy because then you become them, like shit like that.
That without that message. If Batman just lets fucking Catwoman shoot the dude
No, that's
in
not
the
what I'm
head,
saying. Okay, no. I'm not saying don't let it do. Don't do that.
That's a perfectly reasonable
I'm
thing
just
for Batman to say.
saying there. It seems sort of formulaic. Like, oh, this is a Batman movie. We have to get these lines out of the way. Like,
I mean, that's kind of the characterization of the Batman character.
Yeah,
is it not?
I think you're doing Batman injustice, if you will,
Gods Among Us.
if you don't have those things in there. Because he tells Gordon, hey, put that away. And Gordon goes, nah, that's your thing, not mine.
Yeah, that would be an example of a one-liner that I felt was really kind of funny and strong. Also,
That's Gordon, too. Gordon is sassy with Batman.
Because I love the Gordon Batman relationship.
I
I also
do.
love the line that they had earlier where he's like, "You could have pulled that punch." I did. Like that was fucking great.
Pulled that fucking punch. Come on.
What do you mean, boo? That was a great line.
The humor in this movie is dry humor for the most part. Penguin is not dry humor, and we'll get to that when we talk more about Penguin. But the dry humor in this movie, I enjoy it. I love that like very serious conversation. He just looks at him. He's just like, joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a very serious moment. He just looks at him. He's like,
I see that. What's his name? Jeffrey Wright reprised his role of fucking the guy from the Bond movies. That
yeah, he's Felix Leiter.
Felix Leiter,
Yes.
and he felt like because Felix Leiter was very like, it's a casino. You got to go ahead and put your bets down and make sure that you're like this, and it's gonna be badass. Like he's got that kind of like drawl to him, and he's just doing that for Gordon. And you know what?
I like this Gordon a lot.
I do too. I was about to say, I think it fits for the world.
Hang on a second, fellas.
I really love like the Catwoman character. This is the most accurate portrayal of Catwoman I've ever seen in a live action form in all TV or movies.
The film.
Have you seen Catwoman?
I have seen Catwoman the film.
Yeah, it's bad.
That would be the opposite of what I'm saying.
Have you seen the basketball scene?
More than once.
Have you seen the scene where the cats lick her to life?
Hey, that's in Batman Returns, the good one. But
I know.
But no, I will say that that basketball scene, I've seen that scene like 10 times.
It's so
I
good.
still probably couldn't tell you what that scene was about.
It's about basketball.
Man,
she's really good at basketball due to her cat powers.
It's great. You remember when we watched Ben-Hur 2016, the chariot race where they put the camera, the GoPros on the chariots?
GoPros.
Did they put the GoPro on the basketball in Catwoman? I feel like they did. They dribble it.
Can I ask you guys a question?
No, you're not allowed to ask me a question.
It's going back to the Batman, because I said I wanted to talk about the villains, and then we talked about Catwoman, and then completely stopped talking about the villains. I liked the Penguin a lot.
I did too.
I like the Penguin.
His voice, he did it right. Mm-hmm. He almost sounded like Danny DeVito in a lot of parts.
Everybody's got that fucking thick, like, mob accent, though.
Yup.
I'm all here for it, you know?
Come on, sweetheart.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Vengeance, you want to play?
Hey, Vengeance. You really want to take my money?
It's fucking great.
So good. He did amazing. The makeup doesn't look super shitty and hammy like House of Gucci. Fuck you, Ridley Scott. It looks good.
I like the makeup in House of Gucci.
Makeup in House of Gucci looks like cake.
No, I think it's really good.
I didn't watch it for that reason. That and the accents are bad. But I love the way he looks. It looks right. He sounds right. It's the underling story of everyone counts this guy out because he has the deformity, he has the scars on his face, and he got the limp.
He's a little overweight.
Like, everyone shits on this guy, and then Falcone goes down, which actually John Turturro did a really good job in this movie, and I'm really happy.
I knew he would. He's capable.
He's
of doing
really
great.
good in other things that aren't the Transformers movies that I've seen all of them, and then he's awful.
Yeah, I feel like that's the problem. Like, people because those are the highest grossing fucking ones, I guess he has.
Yeah.
So like people know him as shitty Transformers guy.
But he's in like Do the Right Thing, and he's a really good actor. He's not a bad actor.
And like, sure, give John Turturro shit. Why do you keep saying yes to those movies? You're in all 5. But I think
money. He is in all of them. Yeah,
money. He's got a paycheck's got to pay.
But like Falcone underestimates him the entire time, and you can see his slow rise of all of this, and he's going up, and then he is already the Penguin. Let's be real.
Yep.
But he's going to be even more the Penguin.
Yes.
I love how we get these characters, and they're already the characters we love, and they're still escalating.
Yep.
That's
really
what you
cool.
want from a character. That's what you want from a character.
So they're talking about doing a Penguin HBO Max show.
Good.
Oh, great.
I would not mind that.
Oh, great.
So why don't you want to see it, Joe?
Oh, please just let the movie simmer, you fucking idiot.
They haven't even started pre-production. You gotta
just let it simmer.
Right,
Why is it already in talks?
All right, Joe Quinn. Why
Because
is
the movie
a
was
Sonic
good?
live action show and Sonic 3 already in talks?
Because Sonic 1 already came out.
Batman came out.
2 didn't already come out, and they're already making 3 and a live action show.
Again,
It's the same. Why did Peacemaker get announced before Suicide Squad came out?
Suicide Squad was already there.
No, Suicide Squad did not establish him as a character.
There were established characters though. And
Not the one they're making.
And the mythos was already established.
I disagree with Joe Quinn. This is where I'm drawing the line.
Joe, it sounds like you want a very specific window of time after something comes out to
Yes,
make a show after it.
I agree that you should wait until things come out to make
But now they have.
But this, unlike the other multiple examples that I just said, already have the movie out.
Yeah.
Peacemaker, that was what, a week before or 2 weeks before they announced they were doing the show?
Yeah, I think they shot Peacemaker. They started shooting it before, if not during the movie coming out.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad.
They announced that they were doing the show before the movie came out, and I was like, that's stupid. The movie's not out. What if people don't like this character?
And then you didn't like the character.
And then the
made you watch
character's the
Peacemaker.
worst character in the whole movie. And Sonic 2 is not out, so why are you doing a show and a third one immediately? What if this movie fucking bombs?
I mean,
Then you already have stuff.
you there's a lot of stuff to unpack there. Generally, I don't really care when. I don't want big gaps. I don't want to wait like 10 years. But
I would make the argument, Ian. Like I said, first of all, DCEU is a very big franchise, so it makes sense to do something like a show format because they want to just copy Marvel.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're doing.
Okay. But this separate aspect of DC,
you said,
has better ratings and makes more money.
Allegedly. Well,
we don't know yet.
Well, Joker made $1 billion. How many DCU movies have made $1 billion? One?
Aquaman.
Just Aquaman?
Just Aquaman, yeah. So we'll get there when we get there. But like the way I see it is like, I'm never gonna be like, if I like the world, I said it's my favorite Gotham City.
Yes.
If I like the world, I want to see more world building. And so a show is a great way to do that.
You know, Penguin's gonna be taking on a bad guy. He's gonna be taking down other rival gangs. He's gonna be.
I want to see that in a movie though, and
we can have both.
Sure, and. Honestly, a problem I have with this movie is it's teased at the end that, Joker's going to bust his old buddy Riddler out.
We are in spoilers, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we are in spoilers. I didn't want to see that. I was very excited when you told me no post-credits scene. Because I was like, a little part of me wanted this to be like a self-contained story.
Yes.
I will agree that the ending establishing the Joker was a little premature. I feel like they should have waited to cast a guy because... You don't really know, unless Matt Reeves really does have like every script written in his head. Like, I don't really know what the hell you're gonna do with the next one. What if you want to change course? What if Penguin does something different in the show that's gonna come out now? Like, I feel like do it when the time comes. You know, you can plan. That's all well and good, but I feel like I don't know. And plus, like, what was his purpose in the story? 0%. So, like that aspect to me, I would count as another. I would even call it a nitpick because it's like less than 1% of the movie, but like it is the part of the ending. It's worth talking about. It's to me, I didn't really jive much with that. So
that's completely understandable. I don't have a inherent huge problem with it because that's what movies do now, and we just have to fucking accept that fact.
Yeah, but I don't like what movies do.
That is a thing that we just have to accept. Every big movie is going to do something dumb like that.
Well. I would have said that to you about title cards, and this movie didn't really have those.
That movie didn't have title cards, and that's why it's a good film, because that is a lazy script thing, as opposed to a universe movie doing that, where that's just part of the universe.
Yeah, I'm going to write a movie for Adam Sandler that calls for no title cards, but it's just him shitting on screen for an hour and a half.
And to give this last villain that we haven't barely talked about, Paul Dano's super fucking talented.
Yes, he is.
I like the Riddler in this movie. I have also seen some complaints about his character, and I like the modern day Zodiac killer social media aspect of it because it feels modern and it feels like it would fit in Gotham because Gotham's a big, huge tech city. I really like the online follower craze that gave him.
That's not even revealed until like the last 30
I
minutes.
loved that. I thought it was just him, but it's all
I didn't. I'll be honest with you. I don't think you say this movie could have maybe been only 5 minutes shorter. I think you should have ended it like right after Riddler was stopped. Maybe rewrite that a little bit. I don't think the water at the end really adds much of anything.
Can I tell you what it adds? Just to go off that?
I
love the fact that the guy who he kicked the living shit out of at the start of the movie, and he says, "I'm vengeance." That guy following Riddler's path, saying that I'm vengeance back to him in like a fuck you kind of way. That to me was like, oh my God, Batman realizes that the path of vengeance is what the Riddler embodied. Riddler wanted to be like Batman. He idolized him. He was like, we're going to do this together. Why aren't we?
Except for I wanted to also kill Batman. Real quick, he sent the postcard to, not the postcard. He sent the bomb present to Bruce Wayne's house.
Yes.
Which also had the card for the Batman.
Well, Batman shows up to all the crime scenes.
But how, you don't think the card would have been exploded?
It was in a fireproof thing.
Yeah, they showed it was fireproof.
Oh, it was fireproof. Okay.
Yeah,
that I missed.
Yes.
That was really cool to me. I like the little detail.
Yes, because Riddler's intelligent.
Now, hang on. Do explosions prevent, like, fire? Do explosions help against fireproof
Listen,
things?
throwing a freaking... I'm going to see if I can get it on camera. I did? But, okay, anyway. In any case, I just want to talk about the point of the movie. I almost finished that point. It was the villain that he kicked the shit out of saying, I'm vengeance. Coming back at the end of the movie saying, I'm vengeance as a fuck you to Batman. Batman realizes that Riddler idolized him, and Riddler was taking the idea of vengeance to fruition. And if Batman continued down this path, that's why the city wasn't healing at the start of the movie. The opening monologue where he's like, I don't know how to solve the city. I don't know what I'm doing. I think this is the right path, but I'll be damned if I know. When he figures out that that path isn't the right one, that's when you see footage of him saving the people in the city, like helping get the kid to safety. And he's like, okay, I have to be something better, something bigger than that.
He has to be a beacon. He has to be the bat signal. He has to be the beacon of hope and justice.
The first half of the themes of Batman Begins is what this movie plays out to fruition in detail. Yeah. And I love how it comes back at the end. I just thought the opening scene with the thugs where he's kicking the shit, I thought that was just like cool for the sake of cool to establish the character. It is. It doubles as the fucking point. And I think if you were to say, I don't know, cut it down and say no ending and the Riddler to stop, yay, I feel like you lose that aspect of that.
And you know what? The stopping the movie after the Riddler stops is a big kick in the face, because a lot of what Batman as a character, I'm going to go on a small rant. A lot of what Batman does as a character and in the Batman comics is it focuses on like mental illnesses, it focuses on gray areas, it focuses on so many of these little aspects that don't get a lot of attention. If you just stop the Riddler and it's over, where's the gray area in that? Where's the moral area? You know what I mean? It doesn't show the characterization. It doesn't show the consequences, the repercussions, anything.
No,
Batman's never been that kind of character that something is stopped and the day is saved. Like, you can't...
He has been, Adam West.
Yeah, the bad one. You can't do... For me personally... This is why when you were like, oh, Batman looks sad and miserable and the movie doesn't look fun. If the Batman isn't sad and miserable, you are characterizing the city, the character, and everything about the message wrong.
I simply disagree with
Gotham is a corrupt, dark, gritty, gross city.
Absolutely.
And if you are trying to make a happy, fun Batman movie...
That's not what I'm saying.
You're missing... How are you going to do a nice, light, fun movie with police corruption?
Again, that's not.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, okay, Joker, what are you saying?
Yeah,
I'm on a nice in between. I don't want. Ian, if you put Lego Batman right into this movie,
police corruption, Lego
it's
Batman.
going to be dog shit.
Yeah,
but that's not what we get. That's not what we get at all here. And that,
what's the most happy medium?
You need a middle ground between that, because Bruce Wayne is not, as much as you want, not that you are saying, but as much as people want to say that he's just like, oh, this dark, depressed, brooding guy. If you say that, I genuinely do not believe that you understand Batman.
Bruce Wayne is not that. Batman and his villains are that.
Sure.
Bruce Wayne,
and I think this movie fundamentally fails to get Bruce Wayne correct.
I think this movie, judging on the path of where we are, is exactly at the right point. Because since we're at that 2-year balance, I love seeing the struggle. Bruce Wayne is an impeccable, perfect billionaire and everything else. And we finally get to see him struggle and have, like, genuine problems that aren't just Batman problems.
I accept the fact that this Bruce Wayne is not, like, the charming, charismatic Bruce Wayne we know yet. But if they do it again, like let's say Batman 2 comes out and he's again not as like developed to the point where I'm anticipating his direction to go, because since I just harped on how great the ending theme with the vengeance not being the right path thing was, since that point at the end of the movie, okay, now Bruce Wayne knows exactly where to take the Batman idea and how to fix the city in the proper way. And with that,
that should come the balance.
Yes. And I think the proper way is to develop that personality, that false persona of like, I'm a cocky dude. And that's one of the reasons that the Dark Knight trilogy, sure, they're great movies, but the characterization of Batman, he actually was that cocky personality guy, and he pretended to be a cool badass guy when he fought as Batman. This is the other way around. Ben Affleck was the other way around.
Yep.
I like that aspect a lot better.
I do as well. And I think him going to Falcone as Bruce Wayne is starting that trend of, I need to do certain things as Batman and I need to do certain things as Bruce Wayne, and he's finally learning that balance. He needs to be the beacon of hope as Batman, but he also needs to help the city as Bruce Wayne, judging by Bella Real talking about the funeral, like, hey, I can't reach you. You have, your family has the history of philanthropy and you're kind of not doing anything. I think that's going to start tinging into that, where he tinges into going into Falcone as Bruce to get actual information, because let's be real, he's not getting that information as Batman.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
It's starting to get both of those things.
And I
understand what you're talking about, where they don't characterize Bruce Wayne as Bruce Wayne to this point, where everyone normally knows Bruce Wayne and Batman.
But you think it's in service to the movie?
But I think it's very well in service to the movie because of where we are. We're here. This is the beginning of Batman, and we're here.
Now
he's not going to be where he is here.
That being said, to Joquin's point, if the Batman Part 2 that comes out,
the Batman,
when that movie comes out, and if he's still not there yet after learning the moral of the point in this movie, Joquin, I'm on your side.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, where the fuck is this Bruce Wayne personality?
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about that too. Like, for example, the club scene you keep bringing up where Bruce Wayne comes in instead of Batman, the same scene, the same twin guards stopping him, the same doorway, different persona, but it feels like the same persona. I think, again, like one of the reasons that Bruce Wayne's false persona works so well is that you're even less likely to think that this random dude is Batman, even though he's the same shape, size, and chin. Because if he's like, I'm Bruce Wayne, I'm cocky billionaire Bruce Wayne, then you don't even think that this is the brooding asshole that kicked me in the fucking head earlier. Whereas the Bruce Wayne we got was, I'm also, dark and depressed, and I'd like to go see Falcone. And I think Bruce Wayne, as he develops as a character in future movies and whatever spin-offs they're going to do, I think that this is the correct... This is a start... It's like how the Homecoming trilogy ends with Spider-Man being the Spider-Man we know and love. This movie ended with Batman realizing this is the Batman I have to be. Yes. And I like that aspect a lot.
I like that aspect a lot because it's a thing that never gets explored.
But, Joquin, to your credit, you're not watching a sequel. You're watching the first movie.
I'm watching the first movie.
And if you're feeling this way now, that's how you feel,
And for Batman and Spider-Man, I think it's like two different things, right? Because we've already... Obviously there's different interpretations of, Batman, but... we think of like the three main interpretations of Spider-Man, which kind of cover all bases. Like, yes, we have what many people call like the Iron Boy or Iron Man Jr. arc of Spider-Man with Tom Holland's character. But then we have like the other two interpretations of Spider-Man. We have like the dark and depressing Andrew Garfield movies because, Dark Knight kind of did that.
Yep.
Every movie in the early 2010s tried to be Dark Knight.
But then we have the cheesy and campy Spider-Man with the Tobey Maguire movies. So like we kind of get the most of all worlds. With Batman, I don't think we've ever gotten there, frankly. We've never gotten like a super accurate comic rendition of this character. I would like to see.
I think
that's fair. That's understandable.
I think it's very, very difficult to do that. And I'm not going to say that this movie does a perfect job. This movie does a good job with the detective work, does a good job with the city, does a good job with the Batman himself. We don't have the experienced, cocky billionaire Bruce Wayne. I almost said the right Bruce Wayne, but there's no right way to do a character.
Sure.
I think we're close, but what I don't want is, let's say, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 or The Amazing Spider-Man, where those movies are dark, gritty, Dark Knight movies, but there's also quips and jokes everywhere because they also want to be the Avengers.
I feel like
Iron Man.
This characterization of Pattinson is basically, I'm assuming sequels, but like I feel like after learning the moral and theme of what Batman should be, his idea of Batman should be in terms of helping the city of Gotham, the best version of Gotham ever. Yes. I feel like this is now, from this point forward, he's going to, if not start heading this path, going to be on this path of being the Batman that has all the knowledge, all the insight, more gadgets, like twice as many, and also the Batman with the Bruce Wayne persona and personality. And if you can nail those aspects that clearly the movie was building towards by the end, I think this shit. I only need one more movie of that, and then fucking Pattinson's my number one, baby.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's all I need.
He's already my number one. I don't think the next movie's gonna take that away from him. So
yeah, exactly.
But
if it's anything, you just like ignore the next movie if it's bad.
More or less, yeah. I like that aspect. So it's been about an hour. Any final thoughts about the Batman?
Yeah, I think it really does a fantastic job characterizing the characters and giving us that Gotham City that delves into the moral gray area. It delves into the mental illnesses of some of the characters very well. They did a really good job of that. They picked the right villain for that. And they portrayed the villain in a modern, fresh, new way, but also still staying true to the character, which I really like. It feels right. This movie, for me, just feels right. And it has the second best soundtrack in any Batman movie, and that's just a fact. This is Batman 89. 1. This movie. 2.
I'm very torn about which Batman theme I think is my favorite because I love this one. I love the one from The Dark Knight where it's just the and I love the classic Danny Elfman. So all three in my mind are like for their movies perfect.
For me, the classic, this one, Dark Knight. The Dark Knight one's good, but I think it's not. It doesn't have that super Batman feel to it like the other two do.
Joking, any final points?
Watch it.
Yeah.
All right.
See it in
In
theaters.
45 days on HBO Max. Do not give this movie money.
No. No.
Oh, all right, I have to clarify that. For context,
We have a
audience,
bet.
we have
a bet.
so, there's a reason Joko just yelled that. We, the three of us, have a bet. And we each think that a different movie this year will be the first to make $1 billion. Ian says The Batman.
Yes.
I say Doctor Strange 2.
Joe said the wrong answer.
Joe
because
said-
his movie comes out in December.
Joko said Avatar 2.
Hey,
now,
guess what I said last year? And guess who won last year?
All right, last year, more pandemic. This year's not going to have that problem. Hopefully. Please.
Well,
please,
you don't know
please,
that.
Please.
Joaquin did say Spider-Man No Way Home.
Which is a movie that came out in December.
And we did get his ass lunch last year, so...
All right, but this year there are 2 good Marvel movies coming out as opposed to the Marvel movies that came out last year.
I don't think Spider-Man $1 billion because it was in the month of December. I don't think that's the reason.
No,
he's saying I picked a movie in December, therefore I'm going to
Well, when Doctor Strange 2 after the Spider-Man boost and Thor 4 is coming out and Batman and like there's so many movies that have more potential to make $1 billion before December this year than there were last year.
I think
because
Batman,
all the movies from last year got moved to this year.
Yeah, Batman has potential. I will give that to you. But
sure.
at the same time, I know Doctor Strange is making $1 billion. I don't know if a 3-hour dark, gritty, can't bring your kids to, you can, I guess. Batman movie.
You can in every country that's smart.
Fucking got him.
Except
I feel
France,
like
fuck you.
This Batman has an uphill battle to face. Doctor Strange is going to teleport on top of the $1 billion clip. Here I am, get the cackly orange portal, $1 billion.
There's also a lot of world conflicts going on right now that might influence box office.
Sure, and we have an agreement, like a caveat. If COVID shuts things down again, that's null and void. There's no point.
Yeah.
But
there's literally no point if during Doctor Strange theaters are restricted, or if during like the first 2 weeks of Batman unrestricted. What if there's COVID restrictions for the last half of the runtime for fucking to make big money?
We just don't know yet. So, but all other things being equal, I am still confident I'm going to win this bet. Ian has a shot, I will admit. He has a bigger shot than I first thought when I first picked this to win the bet. So,
but no, I definitely recommend going to see it because it's an experience. It's when we went to see it in IMAX, you guys should all see it in IMAX multiple times.
Expensive
we went to go see it in IMAX. Dude, that theater was shaking. And we didn't even talk about the best scene in the movie. Hold on.
Hang
the
on.
Batmobile scene, bro.
When you say the movie was shaking, no, one of the speakers was blown out.
Oh, yeah, the AMC
that was
we go to.
not at the IMAX. That was at the
AMC
theater.
we go to sucks. All of the theaters have a speaker blown out.
But the IMAX theater we went
The IMAX theater, everything was shaking because it's loud in IMAX. Dude, the Batmobile scene, we didn't talk about the Batmobile scene.
All right,
that is the best scene in the entire fucking movie. The Batmobile looks like a fucking Mad Max car. And it characterizes Batman so well. And it gives us one of the best chase scenes I've seen in a long time. And it gives us Penguin being fucking hysterical and mad and characterizes that character so well.
Can I talk about that a little bit too? I want to go off on that.
Yes.
You're right.
I know.
You get the engine revving. You get the low hum. It's done like it's a fucking like epic kind of reveal because it is. Yes. And then the Batmobile, like the engine fires up. You see the whoosh, the boosters, the fucking heat. You can see the
heat of the engine through the hood of the car.
Through the hood of the car. And all of a sudden the thing fires up. All the criminals are like shitting themselves. The Batmobile goes like 1 foot forward because he wants everyone else to go first. That's Batman. Yes. He wants to chase Penguin. That's
it characterizes Batman as a character so well, and it characterizes Penguin as a character so well. Because Penguin, despite being powerful and hungry for more power, he's scared.
And I love
Penguin's always been like that.
I noticed this on second watch too, but like all of the shots during that chase scene, the Batmobile shots are facing forward towards Penguin. Penguin's camera angles are always looking over his shoulder.
Yeah,
because he's terrified.
So smart. The filmmaking in this movie is really fucking good, man.
Yeah, so I love that aspect.
Yes. I really like the way this movie goes.
It is. I think it's the biggest part in the audience because we were at the Tuesday fan event where the audience of all pure Batman fans started like cheering when that Batmobile showed up. They were like, "Yeah, let's go!" It's like fucking amazing. It's like a Marvel movie. In a DC movie.
The only time I cheered in second watch was when Nicole Kidman showed up and told me to watch a movie at AMC when I was already at AMC.
Yeah, that's my
favorite
part.
But during the first one, there was a lot of movies where I was like, "Let's go!"
All right, we've wrapped up. Joking, any final thoughts? Because we went off on that. All right, tight. So catch you guys next time for probably another video that's not this one.
The Batman.
The next big spoiler talk I want is Doctor Strange. We'll get there in like 2 months or whatever.
No, what do you mean? We're not going to talk about Morbius?